The shared traits of Enneagram 2s and 6s go all the way back to their childhood, where they both tended to orient their identities around the primary protective figure in their life. Traditionally speaking, that's the father, but by no means is that the only person who can fill this role, as it can often be a strong mom, an uncle, a grandfather, older sibling, etc., etc. Whoever this protective figure was, though, the two often looked at them and thought, okay, I gotta play a more complimentary or supportive role to earn both their love and a spot on this family's team. 6s, on the other hand, looked at their protective figure and thought, I really like how safe I feel around them. I should probably stay close by and do what they say. This is why as 2s and 6s age, they continue to seek out relationships with people who can provide or reinforce their sense of structure, security, and affirmation. Be it their original father figure, their spouse, or even their God can fill this role. Now, once 2s and 6s decide who these people are, they commit to them with their whole being. In fact, 2s and 6s are the most relationally oriented of all Enneagram types, and that's because their relationships provide a foundational sense of direction and protection that helps them navigate life. Does that also make it difficult for them to feel confident going it alone or thinking for themselves? Sure. And that leads us to the next point of connection for this couple, which is in their triadic patterns. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the triad centers, they're essentially a symbolic representation of the way we form our perspective, which is through the logic of the mind, the emotions of the heart, and the instincts of our gut. 2s as heart types and 6s as the impinged type of the head center both rely heavily on this mixture of emotion and instinct, which then leads them to act on what they feel. Now, this is a bit of a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, they're not as in touch with the calm, rational, and objective thoughts of the mind that would help them feel confident making strategic decisions for themselves. But on the other hand, this perspective creates a sense of conviction that often compels them to do incredibly selfless, brave, and/or generous things that transcend the natural caution of the rational mind. Now, if we continue to follow this thread of relational rather than rational decision-making, it will lead us to the final place where 2s and 6s meet, which is within the Hornevian triad. If you haven't heard of this concept before, it's just a synthesis of the psychoanalyst Karen Horney's theories about how we get what we need from social situations. 2s and 6s are both compliant types within the Hornevian triad, which usually means they're classic ambiverts who try to fit in by adapting their behaviors to the general vibe or rules of the group. They also tend to be very aware of and focused on the approval of the primary authority figure within the group. And now we're back to where we started. All right, I hope I made those connections easy enough to follow, and obviously there's so much nuance I skipped over just for the sake of time. So if you want to learn more, I'd really recommend watching the complete guides that I've got linked for you in the description below after you're done here. Okay, time to move on to a few things that specifically attract the Type 2 helper to the Type 6 loyalist and vice versa. Thank you so much for watching You've Got a Type. If you enjoyed that clip, then why not watch the full video it was taken from right here? And if you really enjoyed it, then maybe hit those like and subscribe buttons before you go. No pressure though. Just happy you're here.